Welcome back to Random Tasks. Today we are going to try to fix the charger for my Ryobi 1 Plus batteries. It's an 18-volt charger. I tried to charge all my batteries after using one of my tools the other day, and I noticed nothing was happening. Normally when you plug it in, there should be a light coming on, and obviously when you plug in the battery, it should start flashing green. Nothing happened. Luckily, I have another one which I was able to use, but I'd really like to understand what is going on with this and hopefully fix it. So we are going to take it apart and see if we can figure out what is happening. So to start off with, you need to make sure you have the right tool. So this uses these, it has 4 screws on the bottom, Torx T15 with the hole in the middle. So I guess these are kind of security bits. You need something like this. I picked this up from Amazon years ago. Like I said, it's just like a normal Torx drive, but it has a little hole in the middle because the screw head has a pin that sticks out. So it's 4 here, and ooh, they're tight. These are a little bit difficult. See, I've got a somewhat of a fat screwdriver here. It's not quite reaching. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. If I stick that in, even this might have to enlarge the hole a bit. Yeah, I'm going to get my screwdriver out, or my drill rather, and fix that. So I'm just going to enlarge it a little bit at a time, as carefully as I can. Ultimately, I want to get it to be this thick. Still got a little ways to go, but at least this now turns more freely. In fact, now that I've got, can I get it? Oh yes, perfect. Just get down there. So did. Slight problem, it's magnetic, so once they kind of latch onto it, so I have to just maybe initially just use some pliers. So same here. Obviously, if I had a set of proper screwdrivers, security Torx bit screwdrivers, then this would be easier. Because I'm using these normal kind of hex head bits. So this thing has a magnetic tip, so it kind of sucks the bits in. But there we go. Obviously, make sure this is not plugged in when you take it apart. Okay. Those that are curious, that was a 9/32 inch drill bit that I use. I'm not sure what the equivalent is in metric, but it was just enough to enable the bit to turn. So I got the 4 screws out, so that kind of comes out. It's connected by a wire here. That's just a normal Phillips head screw. I'm going to disconnect that so that I'm not, or am I actually? It's okay, that comes out there. So, is there anything obvious that I can see here? There's a fuse, so I will test the fuse, see if that's blown for some reason. So I'm going to do a continuity test. It's my trusty Radio Shack multimeter. You can hear that, it makes a nice high-pitched beeping noise when there's continuity. Alright, fuse is fine. So, what else could the problem be? And I suppose it could also just be that the LEDs have burnt out and it actually was charging, but doesn't make much sense. So, what do we have here? We have input voltage. So this already has a transformer built in. So the output is 18 volts at 2 amps. That's what it says. So in theory, so here's the negative. The measure here should read 18 volts. So put on my other multimeter. The only reason I use this one is that the LCD actually works properly. That old Radio Shack one, the LCD is pretty much dead. Should probably do a video on how to repair it, but that's not for today. So, do I get 18 volts? Well, it also helps if I plug it in first. Now it's plugged in. Do I get 18 volts? No. So it means the transformer is likely the problem and not this at all. Okay. I could always just test this by taking apart this other charger. However, this one doesn't have any visible screws. Oh, sorry, it does. It's a lie. There's some screws. I can tell though these are so deep, my screwdrivers are going to have issues with that. I don't particularly want to take this one apart because it does work. Could always just chop this off and put another 18 volt transformer on it, but I don't particularly want to do that. I'll have to just figure out how much these cost and whether or not it's worth just getting a whole new one or just getting another transformer that puts out 18 volts at 2 amps and then swapping it over. So this is RC18120. Slight pause while I Google. So since I know this is the problem, before I get a replacement, maybe there's something inside here that I can see that'll tell me what's going on. Hopefully something as simple as a fuse, but who knows. So there's a seam along here. Question is whether or not I can actually get it apart, and then once I do, well, I guess I could glue it back together, but so it's worth just experimenting. So let's see a little flathead. Let's see if I can find a way to pry this apart. I mean, this was clearly not designed to come apart. I might actually try sawing it apart. Could use a Dremel. But I think I'm going to try with my hacksaw. The reason I'm using a hacksaw is just because it's a very fine bladed, fine toothed rather, saw blade. So move that out of the way. And okay, several minutes later. Good, and I managed not to damage anything, which is a miracle. Ooh, well, did cut into that a bit, whatever that is. And of course, there's no fuse, because why would you put a fuse in something if you can't open it to replace it? So that was a waste of time, I think. Yeah, I can't see anything obviously wrong, and annoyingly it's got this goop in here. So it would make it difficult to replace components if I needed to. Oh well, looks like I'm gonna have to get another adapter. So I need someone with an 18-volt 2-amp output. So it's a few days later, and I have my AC adapter that I ordered as a replacement. Got it from Amazon for about 12 pounds or 15 US dollars. This is about half the price of what it would cost for a new one of these, so probably worth it. So fairly standard. What I'm going to do is cut this DC plug off. I could have, if I really wanted to make this nice and clean, I could have bought the female version of that and installed it into this case, but I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do instead, because I want to retain this bit here, so I'm going to cut this off probably about here, and also cut the plug off here, and then just solder the wires together. Got both ends cut, so I'm just going to use my strippers. So it's quite simple, red to red, black to black. So let's get that prepped and you can watch the soldering process. Okay. One. And two. So now it's soldered up. Let's put some heat shrink tubing over that and get that nice and clean. Good. Now to put it back together. So let's see if I can remember how this goes together. So let's go like that. Okay, and then make sure this is sitting in here. And then put that on there. Good. Now before I screw it together, just going to make sure this actually works. Okay, so plug this in. And that's already a win. I can see the red light is on. So, and now it's, yes, success. So if anyone has one of these Ryobi chargers, you might be able to fix it simply by replacing the AC adapter. Obviously I still need to put the screws back in here, but you don't need to watch me do that. But yeah, I'm going to call that definitely a win. So I hope that is useful and find it interesting, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Random Tasks.